The Ring Demon is a monster I designed as a eldritch personification of greed. Let's summarize eldritch entities real quick. You know Cthulhu? There you go, that's an eldritch entity. Basically, they're beings that we can't quite comprehend that kind of screw with our mind when we interact with them. So here I designed it in a ghostly manner, and I gave it rings which act as a nice symbol of greed. This greed is reflected in how they form within the manners of wealthy nobles, normally using parts of the gold as their fuel for existence. Their physical form is a somewhat incorporeal mix of mist and gold. Whenever destroyed, this form passes and their soul is stored within the rings to be reformed the next time they have the opportunity, normally when surrounded by gold. As a result, they desire greed greatly, so whenever they are present within a wealthy noble's hoard, they will impress a insanity of sorts onto the noble, a unreasonable desire for wealth. This desire will make them eventually observe the disappearance of gold from their hoard that is being consumed by the ring demon, and as a result, they will often grow intensely paranoid and sometimes try to take their money back. Additionally, this will result in higher taxes in the area and normally higher enforcement of those taxes. It can get very oppressive very rapidly, and it's even worse the more powerful a person the ring demon possesses. Now, most of what the ring demon does is try to get gold moving in his direction, so particularly smart ones will place themselves around a dragon's hoard. Now, the odd thing about the dragon's hoard is that by being there, they can actually corrupt good dragons to be far more greedy than other ones. If someone becomes aware of the presence of the ring demon, it is then chief objective to try and kill it to undo some of the harm. This could make a very fun quest where a good dragon from the area becomes very greedy, very much starts grabbing everything, and the players have to stealthily go in and kill the ring demon in order to free the dragon from its control, all the while they are at constant risk of alerting a dragon to their presence. The longer a ring demon is present in an area, the bigger and more powerful the bands that it carries holds. This normally isn't too bad. If you catch them early, it'll be actual rings you could feasibly wear, but if you catch them in the late end, they could easily be crowns or even golden armor levels of wealth. Now, the thing is, there is a risk when you wear them. Gold ring, you will not wish to part with it, and if you wear a gold crown, you will wish to gain power over those around you. These act as cursed magic items that very directly influence your player's decisions, so I'd be careful about dropping them without healthy foreshadowing. You are capable of selling these, and they will almost always fetch an incredibly high price, but what's fun about that is the greed that you displayed by selling it will result in someone else being consumed by greed. If we are clever folks as dungeon masters, we can then tie that into a future plot hook by having that person become a problem in the future. I also think the desire for wealth might provide them with some light eldritch powers, and maybe the rings on their own could even act as a patron of sorts. Actually, let's talk about using them as a patron. A person with a ring wraith as a patron might often not be aware that they fell into such a pact. This will normally be someone under the service of a noble or some sort, who then suddenly start developing unknown magic powers. These unknown magic powers are often the first signs as to a ring wraith's presence, and if that person is ever lost from his employer's care, they then begin to vanish or become directly tied with the wealth that the individual owns. You could also use this to bring back an older mechanic where the EXP you gain is directly tied to the gold you gain. The problem with that is you need to either tie it to the whole party or do uneven leveling. I don't actually hate uneven leveling. What you can do is you can set each player up to level in a different manner. So you give this guy rings, you give the fighter like he needs to spend downtime training, you give the wizard he needs to find more spell scrolls, but that's not important for this video. So how would a set of would-be heroes destroy these cursed magic items? Well, it would be very straightforward. Go to the Mountain of Mordor. It would be fairly straightforward. You need to just cast them out. They die without the presence of greed, so you would want to find some area where no one could find them, cast them into that area, and then they would decay over the course of a week or two. This might be good as like a lake or bury it somewhere, but it does have the potential of being found by just about anything. In particularly extreme cases, you can get a kraken who is then possessed by a ring wraith, which becomes a very big problem to just about any undersea creatures or anything on the shoreline. I could actually picture, if you want, you can make an entire setting out of this, where what you do is you set up the setting to be like an island with some area inland that's much wealthier than the rest, and then you have a kraken on the outside that makes a ring wraith. Now the inland area has a noble who is possessed by a ring wraith, and there's two going around. So what happens is the ring wraith kind of trashes the shoreline and takes a lot of gold there. So the noble then hires adventurers to try and steal from the kraken, while at the same time heavily taxing all his people to try and accumulate wealth. So the entire thing could make for a very nice low gold adventure where you need to discover, then figure out how to get both of these entities free of the greed's possession.